cherish the hope that I have not inconvenienced you by my perseverance in soliciting the occupation of Thrushcross Grange. I'll try saying that with a lisp. I heard yesterday you had some thoughts. Thrushcross Grange is my own, sir, he interrupted, wincing. I should not allow anyone to inconvenience me. If I should hinder it, walk in. The walk in was uttered with the closed teeth, and expressed the sentiment, go to the deuce. Even the gate over which he leant manifested no sympathising movements to his words, and I think the circumstance determined me to accept the invitation. I felt interested in a man who seemed more exaggeratedly reserved than myself. When I saw my horse's breast fairly pushing the barrier, he did pull out the hand to unchain it, and then sullenly preceded me up the causeway, calling as we entered the court, Joseph, take Mr. Lockwood's horse, and bring up some wine. Here we have the whole establishment of domestics, I suppose, was the reflection suggested by this compound order. No wonder the grass grows but up between the flags and cattle are the only hedge cutters. Joseph was an elderly, nay, an old man, very old perhaps, through hell and sinewy. The Lord help us, he soliloquized in an undertone of peevish displeasure, while relieving me of my horse, looking meantime in my face so sourly that I charitably conjectured he must have need of divine aid to digest his dinner, and his pious ejaculation had no reference to my unexpected advent. Wuthering Heights is the name of Mr. Heathcliff's dwelling, Wuthering being a significant provincial adjective descriptive of the atmospheric tumult to which its station is exposed in stormy weather. Pure bracing ventilation they must have up there at all times. Indeed, one may guess the power of the north wind blown over the edge by the excessive slant of a few stunted firs at the end of the house, and by a range of gaunt thorns all stretching their limbs one way, as if craving alms of the sun. Happily, the architect that had foresight to build it strong. The narrow windows are deeply set in the wall, and the corners defended with large jutting stones. Before passing the threshold, I paused to admire a quantity of grotesque carvings lavished over the front, and especially about the principal door, above which, along a wilderness of crumbling griffins and shameless little boys, I detected the date 1500 and the name Hareton Earnshaw. I would have made a few comments and requested a short history of the place from the surly owner, but his attitude at the door appeared to demand my speedy entrance or complete departure. I had no desire to aggravate the impatience previous to inspecting the pentralium. One step brought us into the family sitting room, without any introductory lobby or passage, they call it here. The house preeminently includes kitchen and parlour generally, but I believe at Wuthering Heights the kitchen is forced to retreat altogether into another quarter. At least I distinguished a chatter of tongues and a clatter of culinary utensils deep within. Sorry about the noise downstairs. I don't know what the hell is going on. At least I distinguished a chatter of tongues and a clatter of culinary utensils deep within, and I observed no sign of roasting, boiling, or baking about the huge fireplace, nor any glitter of copper saucepans and tin colander on the wall. One end indeed reflected splendidly both light and heat from ranks of immense pewter dishes, interspersed with silver jugs and tankards, towering row after row in a vast oak dresser to the very roof. The latter had never been underdrawn. Its entire anatomy white stone and the chairs high-backed primitive structures, painted green, one or two heavy black ones lurking in the shade. In an arch under the dresser reposed a huge liver-coloured bitch pointer surrounded by a swarm of squealing puppies, and other dogs haunted other recesses. The apartment and furniture would have been nothing extraordinary, as belonging to a homely northern farmer with a stubborn consonance and stalwart limbs set out to advantage in knee braces and gaiters. Such an individual seated in his armchair, his mug of ale frothing on the round table before him, is to be seen in any circuit of 5 or 6 miles along these hills, if you go at the right time after dinner. But Mr. Heathcliff forms a singular contrast to his abode and style of living. He is a dark-skinned gipsy in aspect, in dress and manners, that is, as much a gentleman as many country squire, rather slovenly, perhaps, yet not looking amiss with his negligence, because he has an erect and handsome figure, and rather Monroe's. Possibly some people might suspect him of a degree of underbred pride. I have a sympathetic chord within that tells me it is nothing of the sort. I know my instinct is reserve springs from an aversion to showy displays of feeling, to manifestations of mutual kindliness he'll love and hate equally. Under cover, and esteems it a species of impotence to be loved or hated again. Now I'm running too fast. I bestow my own attributes over liberally on him. Mr. Heathcliff may have entirely dissimilar reasons for keeping his hand out of the way. When he meets a would-be acquaintance to those which actuate me, let me hope my constitution is almost peculiar. My dear mother used to say I should never have a comfortable home, and only last summer I proved myself perfectly unworthy of one. While enjoying a month of fine weather at the sea-coast, I was thrown into the company of a most fascinating creature, a real goddess in my eyes, as long as she took no notice of me. I never told my love vocally. If looks have language, the merest idiot might have guessed I was over my head and heels. She understood me at last, and looked a return. The sweetest of all imaginable looks. And what did I do? I confess it with shame. Shrunk icily into myself like a snail. At every glance retired colder and farther, till finally the poor innocent was led to doubt her own senses, and finally, overwhelmed with confusion at her supposed mistake, persuaded her mamma to decamp. By this curious turn of disposition, I have gained the reputation of deliberate heartlessness. How undeserved I alone can appreciate. I took a seat at the end of the hearthstone opposite that towards which my landlord advanced, and filled up an interval of silence by attempting to caress the canine mother, who had left her nursery and was sneaking wolfishly to the back of my legs, her lip curled up and her white teeth watering for a snatch. My caress provoked a long guttural snarl. "You'd better let the dog alone," growled Mr. Heathcliff in unison, checking fiercer demonstrations with a punch of the foot. "She's not accustomed to being spoiled, not kept for a pet." Then, striding to a side door, he shouted again, "Joseph!" Joseph mumbled instinctively in the depth of the cellar, but gave no intimation of ascending, so his manner dived down to him, leaving me vis-a-vis the ruffiany bitch, and a pair of grim, shaggy sheepdog who shared with her a jealous guardianship over all their movements. Not anxious to come in contact with their You are flurried, Mr. Lockwood. Here, take a little wine. Guests are so exceedingly rare in this house. I and my dogs, I am willing to own, hardly know how to receive them. Your health, sir. I bowed and returned the pledge, beginning to perceive that it would be foolish to sit sulking for the misbehaviour of a pack of curs. Besides, I felt loath to yield the fellow further amusement at my expense. Since his humour took that turn, he probably swayed by prudential considerations